Hey everyone, very good morning. Let me just share my screen and let us all go through the questions. Okay.
Hello Mohit, one Palash here. Uh, I have those questions. Can I mention in that sheet also, which I have the answer? Only question I am to mention in that sheet.
Sorry, you want to add questions there?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, definitely add questions. That's what I said yesterday.
No, मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि इसमें मेरे पास जो आंसर है वो भी क्वेश्चन में उसमें डाल सकता हूँ कि सिर्फ
बिल्कुल डाल सकते हो। अगर देखो तुम्हें कोई क्वेश्चन दिखता है जिसमें आंसर नहीं पड़ा है एंड यू नो द आंसर, उसका आंसर लिख दो आप। जिस आप ही लोगों का है ये सब कुछ। ठीक है।
ओके ओके राइट
हाँ। ओके। ये आंसर्स जो लिखे हुए हैं ना, ये जरूरी नहीं है कि मैंने लिखे हो। मैं बस डिस्कस करता था क्लास में एंड देन समबडी फ्रॉम द क्लास यूज्ड टू अपडेट दोस थिंग्स। सो नॉर्मली आई डू नॉट पुट आंसर्स, आई एक्सप्लेन आंसर्स एंड देन स्टूडेंट्स फ्रॉम द batch put the answers. That's what we did. Okay, last time as well. Okay,
ओके या
cool. Thank you. All right. ठीक है, let's start with the question one. Says that you have a team of sales representative who needs access to certain customer data, but you want to restrict their access to sensitive information such as credit card. Okay, so here what they're saying is that you have customer data and you want your sales representative to access that. Okay, but then you just want to hide a particular field. Let's say if in that account, if in that customer data record, there is a field called credit card number. So you want to hide that. Okay. So that's pretty simple. We whatever whenever it comes to hiding a particular field or something, we go for the field level security and we hide it from the field level security. Okay. So you will give access to that particular record. Okay, and if he is owner, he will by default be able to see that. If he is not owner, then you will share that record via other sharing options available, like row hierarchy, manual sharing rules. But when it comes to sensitive fields like credit card or account number, you will hide those fields from profile. Okay, so for that sales representative profile, we'll have to hide credit card field for this customer data object. Okay, so that they will not have access to this particular field, but they will have access to the record and they will be able to see other field values on the same record. Okay, any doubt in this question, guys?
Why not to remove this field from the page layout or flexi page itself?
See, from page layout, if you just hide it from the page layout, that will just be removed from that particular page layout. That's it. There may be instances where he'll be able to see that field from anywhere else as well, like in the lookup filter, or maybe you have created a lightning web component. But if you will hide this field from your profile, then that eliminates all the chances of this field being visible to that user in any circumstances. Okay, page layout will just remove it from page layout, but they will actually have access to that field. Let's say you exposed that field via any other lightning web component, or sometimes they might see it in the highlighted section, or sometimes they might see it in the lookup filter somewhere. So there is a chance that they will still be able to see that field. But if we'll have to completely eliminate that chance, then field removing it from field level security will be a better way. Okay, obviously we can hide it from the page layout as well. And if our requirement says that it's just to hide it from layout, we can do that. But if it is to eliminate that field from the whole system itself, they should never be able to see the critical data. We cannot take chances on fields like these. Okay, so in that case, we will have to remove it from the profile itself. Okay.
Yeah.
And in an interview, you can definitely coin this term that we can see whenever you answer a record sharing and security question, you will always have a scope. So always have some cushion for yourself. You can say that, okay, we can also hide it from page layout as well, but that will have some limitations in terms of it will only hide it from the page layout. So if you'll explain both these things, you will understand that you know the complete picture of it. Okay, so both are fine.
पेज लेआउट होते आणि फील्ड सिक्युरिटी होते. दोन
पेज लेआउट नाही का फक्त त्या पेज लेआउट साठी हाईट होते
हाईट होते. हा
आणि फ्री लेआउट गेलं तर ओव्हरऑल कुठेही हाईट होऊन जाते.
हा त्याला दिसणार
हा.
असं.
ते पेज लेआउटचं लिमिटेशन आहे.
हम्म.
आता हाईट साठी समजून पेज लेआउट आहे आणि फील्ड लेवल सिक्युरिटी.
अभी क्या बोल दिया तुम लोगों ने? आई डिडंट गेट दैट. Okay, next question. Okay, and it is okay if rest of the people are able to understand the question but you are not able to. Okay, in that case also you will raise a concern, you will raise your hand, and I will try to explain the question more. Okay, so it's okay, everyone is on a different skill set, that is why their level of understanding is different. Okay, so don't feel awkward when you feel that someone else is able to understand the question but you are not. Okay. Okay, now your company has recently, and these are the scenario based question they ask just to trick your mind. Okay, they will never ask a question directly like what is role hierarchy. Sometimes they do, but chances are very rare that you will get a direct question on what is role hierarchy or what is sharing rule. But related questions will be there from your project and all such thing, and then they will try to see if you have actually implemented those concepts or not. Okay. So your company has recently acquired another company that uses a different Salesforce org. Now you need to ensure that data is shared between two org while maintaining appropriate level of security. How would you accomplish this in Salesforce? Okay. So what they're saying is that recently your company has acquired another company. Now you want that data to be exchanged between these org, but you also need to make sure that you are maintaining the level of security. So it should not your user should have limited access to what they can see. So see, this is not a question which requires an answer. This is a question which requires you to sometimes ask follow-up questions as well. Did we define the base level security, like what a user should be able to see from the other system, or and vice versa? Because there are now two systems, so there will be two different set of users who will be working on system one and then who will be working on the system two. So a user who is working on system one should have a base level permission for the record which are visible on system 2. So did we define that? And vice versa, which are working on use system 2, all such users should also have a baseline level of limits of what they can see from system 1. So first step is to define the baseline level, like what they should be able to see. Okay, and in then we will have to integrate these two systems. Okay, say Salesforce 1 and Salesforce 2. How we will integrate? There are connectors available. You can use Salesforce to Salesforce Connect to easily connect to Salesforce org. That will be a non-coding solution to connect these two org and seamlessly view or transfer data from one to other. But we'll have to first set the base level security as well. Okay. So this question has multiple set of questions in it, and once you explain the your approach, he'll be okay that. Okay, and when it comes to use the data or something, see, you need not to add any data from one system to other, because they are they are connected. You will be able to see the data from other systems as well. Okay, so this also does not require the data loader. There is no need for the data loader. Connect both the Salesforce, Salesforce, connect and share data. First step will be to define the base level security and access. Okay. Any doubt in this question, guys? See, it's not a um, it's not a question which will ask you to tell the approach and all, because it's pretty okay. Let's now move on to the next question. You have a large sales team and want to ensure that sales manager can only see the data of for the sales representative that reports to them. How would you accomplish this in Salesforce? It's a simple case of using role hierarchy. Sales representative will be on the lower level and then sales manager will be on the top level. Whatever data you are talking about, role hierarchy should be checked on that particular object, and by the virtue of role hierarchy, sales manager will be able to see the data of sales representative. That's pretty straightforward. Okay, now comes the question which requires a lot of explanation. Okay, we have two users, user A and B, under the same profile and same role. How can we restrict the record of A to B and B to A? Okay, so they are on the same role, same profile. Okay, the first question you will ask here is the what is the OWD? Okay, so interviewer will obviously tell you OWD is private or read, whatever it is. Okay, most of the scenarios interviewer will tell you that OWD is private. Okay, so OWD is private. That means they will only be able to see the record. They will only be able to see their own record or make changes on their own record depending on what profile permissions they have. Okay, so uh, by default, they will not be able to see anyone else's record unless on their profile for that particular object, they have view all or modify all, or on their profile, they have view all data or modify all data permissions checked. So on profiles, see, let's say after you said that OWD is private, so they will not be able to see or edit someone else's record. But he will say that they are still able to see the record. They are still able to see the record. What could be the reason? So in that case, you can say that there is a possibility that on their profile, they might have view all or modify all for that particular object, or in their profile, they might have view all data or modify all data. Okay, so in that case, they will still be able to view that data or modify all data if depending on permission. Okay, or then he says that no, on profile they do not have anything extra, then there can be a permission set as well. There can be a permission set which might be giving them all such thing as well. So sometimes it is more about understanding the question and then debugging where, I mean, how deep it can go. Okay, so this is a good question because it looks straightforward, on the surface. But when you dig it deep, when he asks cross questions, there will be some doubts will be generated in your mind. Yes, hi Shikib.
Yeah, Mohit, I have one question. Like you earlier said, when there is a conflict between object level and record level security, so most restrictive will win. So doesn't it apply for view all and modify all permission?
View all and modify all data are the the extra permissions which are given on the object level. So if you have like is these are kind of system level permissions. Once you give, they will have extra permission apart from what they will usually get it. So then if they have view all or view all data or modify all data, then they will get something extra. So you will have to remember this as well, along with what I said about the conflict. I will also talk about conflict because that question will also come here. Okay, but there can be a case when they are still able to see someone else's data even after OWD is private. Then that could be because from the profile you have given the view all data permission. Okay,
Okay.
so we will come to that as well.
Sir,
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to ask a question.
Yes, Priyanshu, go ahead.
Sir, suppose here we have three users, A, B, C,
Mm-hmm.
and like we want that A should be able to see only his records, and B can be able to see both A and B, and C should be able to see all three users' record, and they all three have the same profile. So how can we achieve this, sir?
Set up role hierarchy in a proper manner. So we have A, we have B, we have C. So A will be on the lowest level, B will be on top of that, C will be on top of that, and so B will be able to see A's data from the role hierarchy, okay, and C will be able to see B's data from the role hierarchy, and yeah, so that will be the baseline. And then if in on top of that you might need to create any sharing rule, that also can be done. See, if they are on the same role and same profile, then it becomes that now you have to share it with the sharing rule. But if you can change the role, or if you can set up the role hierarchy, then role hierarchy will definitely be able to take care of this.
Sir, I give the same answer in the interview, but the interviewer said that we can achieve this via permission set. I didn't understand, sir, how.
Permission set. I don't think so that permission set has anything to do with it, because from their profile itself they are getting the object level access, and permission set just gives the object level access, not the other access. So I don't think permission set will be able to do anything like that. When it comes to viewing someone else's data, object level access and permission level access, like profiles and permission set hardly has any role to play, because you are talking about someone else's data, and permission sets of profile only talk about viewing data, not someone else's data. When it comes to view or edit someone else's data, then it comes to record level security. So for that, we do not even go in that profile and permission set direction, because that confuses us. We only remains in the record level security. So even if interviewer is disagreeing with you, you can say politely say that okay, sir, but as per my understanding, it is we are talking about record level security, which um, uh, it is not related to object level security, because they already have access on that object via their profile. And when it comes to record level security, we have these options available. From permission set, we cannot uh, increase or decrease it. We already got it from our profile. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. Now, this question is saying your company has multiple business units and you need to ensure that each business unit can only access their own data. However, there are certain users who need access to all data across all business unit. How would you accomplish this in Salesforce? Okay, so this question has um two questions in it. Okay, first, there are multiple business unit and you need to ensure that each business unit can access only their own data. Okay, so we can set up role hierarchy in such a manner that we will define role hierarchy for different business units. So let's say for India, we have VP of India, and then there'll be someone down it, manager India, and then sales representative India. Just similar to VP of India, we'll have another node added as VP of, let's say, Europe. So VP of Europe is subordinate of VP of India. Okay. So the sales representative of India is not connected with VP of Europe. So VP of India is only responsible to see the data of manager of India, sales representative of India. Similarly, the VP of Europe will be responsible for manager of Europe and sales representative of Europe. Okay, so we have set up role hierarchy in such a way that we will we will only show the data to a particular section of role hierarchy based on division, based on geographical location, whatever we want to, but we will set it up in such a way. Now, the second part is that there will be some users who will be needing access to all the users. Okay, all the data. Now, depending on what kind of users they are, let's say if that user is someone who is higher in role hierarchy than VP, let's say we are talking about CEO, CTO, CFO, COO. So those users can always be on top of top hierarchy than the VP, and then they will have access to what these VPs are seeing. Otherwise, if they can be general users, like they do not fall in the higher role hierarchy, yet they need access to data, like sometimes legal teams, even if somebody is on the lower hierarchy, but he is part of legal team, he need to have access to data so that he can do auditing. Okay, so in that case, what we can do is that we can add such users in a public group and then create a sharing rule to share the data with them. And I am not saying that these are the only options. There can be other answers as well on this. This question is very wide open. Okay, this can be data can be shared based on territories. Okay, so then other things come in as a territory-based sharing rules, territory-based sharing data. Okay, there can be another thing as account teams. So you put those users in the account team, and then team members will be only able to see the data. So there can be other ways, but whenever some question comes in like this, you remain very basic, like with all the basic options available in Salesforce, you try to solve it. Okay, because all orgs will not have additional things like managing the territory management and all such thing. You will have to think it from the base Salesforce org, and whatever very basic you can answer it. And then on top of that, if interviewer is expecting more from that answer, then you can increase it by saying that there can be couple of more options like territory management, or like other options like account teams and all, but depending on what data we're talking about. Okay, so on a very basic, we can set up role hierarchy in such a manner that it will respect the division and will open up the data access or visibility of data based on division. And then for the user who need everything, they can be a part of public group, or if they can be in a higher in role hierarchy, then role hierarchy itself will be able to do. But we can create a sharing rule as well and share the all data with that public group users. Okay, so that is one option.
One addition to this question. Let's
Yeah,
say if the interviewer asks, like, I don't want user from one business unit to create record of another business unit or something like that. Then how can we achieve that?
one biz user should not see that that can be handled by the record types, or something you can do with the obviously for divisions. If you have a different types of data or something, you will have a different types of record types as well. So let's say if I want to create an account for, let's say, India division, I'll have a different record type and I'll have a different set of data to be provided compared to what I can provide for Europe. So when it comes to creating, okay, it has nothing to do with record level security. It has object level security. And then we will go there, and then we can see different types of data for different user on same object can be achieved by the record types. Okay,
Okay.
does that
I
answer
mean,
the question?
even the on profile level access, we need to just enable that particular record type for user, like
Yeah,
that.
we create the record type and we will only give access to record type which are associated with their division. That's it. We will not provide access to other record types. Okay. Do not put answers, questions in between, guys. Okay. Put questions only at the end. I know if you want me to have
So
more.
for the question multiple business units just now you discussed. So that means you mean to say that India, Europe, like whatever you are saying. So there's all those users were in same level of the role hierarchy, right?
Mhm.
No, I'm just asking the question like are they in the same
See,
role hierarchy?
no, they are not in same role hierarchy. He did not even tell about role hierarchy at all. He has given you a very long business problem, a high level problem, that I want to set up my org in such a way that we will have different business unit, and I want my users only to be able to see the data from their own business unit. Now it is very wide and open for you to provide solution on. He is not telling you that all are on the same level or not. It is on you to set up, because this is a new requirement. Let's say, let's assume that this is a new org. There is no role hierarchy, because that has to be done with the role hierarchy only. They cannot be on the same role. Okay. Even if they are on the same role, we'll have to revamp the role hierarchy, existing role hierarchy, and set up the role hierarchy based on the business units. Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Yes, hi Palash. Go ahead.
Hi Mohit, I have a question like, let's there is a user and he is leaving tomorrow, and there is 50 user under him, but user should log in into org and don't lose the data as well. That is all on his name. So how can you achieve this?
Sorry, can you repeat again? There is a user who is going to leave the organization tomorrow. We have a 50 user under him. Now what?
Right now, user should log in into org and don't lose the data as well. That is on his name.
User should log in into org. You're talking about the user who is going to leave.
Yes, but the user should log in into org and whatever the data here and that on his name, so he should not be get lose.
See,
So how can you achieve this?
whatever users were under him, we will have to top up that user with someone else higher in the hierarchy. Okay. See, whenever you will have to, whenever any of your user is going to leave the organization, every company has an outboarding policy. Okay, outboarding rules. What you should do whenever a user leaves the organization. So there are a couple of checks in Salesforce itself put when you deactivate a user. If there is any open opportunities and other things are already associated, then Salesforce will not allow you to deactivate. It will give you a warning. Okay, but those are also basic warning. You will not lose any data because even if you deactivate the user will remain in the system as a deactivated user. So you will not lose any data. Now coming to the part where it has 50 employees under him. For that, you will have to define now these 50 employees will report to which user, and then you will have to change that structure where these 50 users were reporting to user A. Now they should report to user B. You will also have to decide. See, this is not a question which has one answer. There are so many things we do when we deactivate a user. Like there will be a decision made on what will happen to the opportunities, the current user who is going to be deactivated, who will own such things and all. So this will properly be mapped. If a user who has 50 reportee in under him is going to leave the organization, that offboarding preparation starts even a month ago than his last work before his last working day. Okay. So it's not like losing any data is not a question because you will not lose any data. Even if you deactivate, he will still remain in the system. Salesforce will provide couple of checks when you deactivate. Okay. Additionally, if you will have to activate that user because of some limitations, because of some data he is owning, or because of he is running some reports and you want to change it in the backend first before deactivating, then for a time being, you can freeze the user, do all such changes, and then later on deactivate it when all the references of that user is gone in the system. Okay.
Okay, yes, Mohit. Can I ask one more question?
Array, of course, why not?
Yeah, from the profile, if I remove the access of some field, and Apex side, I'm trying to face that field. So it is possible
See,
because
it depends
I
on how Apex
yes,
is running.
okay,
It depends on how Apex is running. Let's say your Apex is running from the Apex class or method is running from the trigger, then it will pass because that is running in the system mode. Okay, but if it is running in the user mode, let's say it is a Lightning Web Component, it is running in the user mode. You do not have field access, you will not be able to do anything. So it depends on the actual context on which that particular class is running. It is a very good practice to check the field access. So let's say you have a Apex class, but that is running from Lightning Web Component. It is running in the user mode. So whenever you do some query or something, always check for the field access as well. If only you have field access, then do this. Otherwise, don't do this. So in that case, the user who do not have field access will not get any exception in the system. They simply will not be able to do. The code will not run because it will check if that access is there, then do update this thing. So it will not have access, it will not go in the update itself. So that exception will not get generated. Okay.
okay, yeah. Thank you, Mohit.
Okay.
I will add this question to it.
Yeah, sure. On the bottom, you can write. So
Yeah.
if I want to restrict user from business from creating
It's
record,
the same thing which I asked. I just
sure,
wrote it.
sure. Yeah, good. All right. Okay. Now this question. Two users have the same profile in Salesforce, but one of them have access to more records than the other. What will be the reason for this difference in access? Okay. Now this is an open question. Okay. Two users have same profile, but one of them have access to more records than the other. So they only have same profile. What do we know about question right now is that they have same profile. That means they have same level of access on that object. Okay. They will be able to access. I mean, if they are able to read, then they both are able to read. If they are able to read and edit, then they both are able to read and edit. Okay. But one of them have access to more records. Whenever it comes to records, like they are able to access more records. Okay, then your first inclination to should be towards the record level security, like he's able to see more data than he owns, compared to the other user. So how he will get access to more data might have been shared with him. Okay, so then it has nothing to do with the object level security. We will eliminate anything related to field level security, object level security, and we will move our focus towards record level security, because extra record have been shared with him. Now there can be n number of reason. Okay, so there is a possibility that there is a sharing rule which is sharing a record with user, with second, let's call them user A and user B. User A has access to more records, so there can be a possibility that record have been shared with user A via sharing rule, via manual sharing, or via other role hierarchy options. Then you can ask if they are on the same role or not. He will say maybe yes or maybe no. Depending on that, role hierarchy can also be a culprit here. Not culprit, could be a reason because of extra records. Here two other things can also be there, that user A might be part of account team, or might be part of opportunity team, or might part of case team. In that case, you can ask which object we are talking about, like the data, which objects data we are talking about. Based on that, account team can also be in a play, come in picture. So it is more about record level security. I don't know why somebody added permission set. There can be
Hi,
multiple reasons for it, depending on,
hi, Mohit. It might be happen like in permissions. We the user have a view or modifiable permission.
yeah, that can also be possible. But see, whenever it comes to record level, we focus more on the record level part. We all and modify all is something which we will very rarely give to users. Okay, because if they are on the same profile, then I don't think we'll, I mean,
It
it can happen. It can happen.
yeah, yeah.
It cannot be,
It
but
can be happen now for this particular 8 number case. So that's why somebody's written permissions at here.
hmm, yep, it can happen. All right, let's jump on to the question number 9. A user is having trouble accessing a Salesforce record in Salesforce that another user can access. Okay. Both user have same profile and are part of same role hierarchy. What could be causing the issue? Okay. A user is not able to access the record, but the other user is able to access that. Okay. They both have same role and same profile. So what do we know about it is that they are on the same role, same profile, they have access, I mean, they have object level security to access the record, but a record, user A is not able to see that record, but user B is able to see that record. So now you will ask, whichever record we are talking about, who is the owner of it? If user B is the owner of it, then obviously user B will be able to access that. But let's say we are calling about or talking about an independent record which is not owned by either A or either B. Then in that case, if user B is able to access that record, then there might be a possibility that that particular record has been shared with only user B, not with user A. So user A will not be able to access that record. Okay, they both have OWD, they both have the access to that particular object. So in that case, if B is able to access and he is not owner of that record, then that clearly means that that record has particularly shared with user B but has not been shared with user A. Okay, there can be cross questions on this, there can be some directions interviewer will give you, and always ask cross questions on questions like this, about which data we are talking about, which record we are talking about, what is OWD, what is profile level. So here profile is already there, role hierarchy uh, cannot be in question because they are on the same level. So then we have only two options left. One is sharing rule, other one is manual sharing, and the record might have been shared with user B via either manual sharing or by a sharing rule, but has not been shared with user A in such a manner. Okay, so that is why user A does not have access to that record, but user B has. Okay, any doubt in this?
No, Mohit, no doubt. But yeah, one thing, if we are talking about that, like A is having us some record access and B is having us some record access. So it means it might be happens like the OWD is private for that, na. So if we are asking something related to OVD,
In that,
where will be the Mhm.
when you will ask about the owner, who is the owner of that record, if user B is the owner of that record and OWD is private, then that means, see, the question is explanatory, but you can specifically ask what is OWD. That should be the first step you should ask. If OWD is private and B is the owner of record, then obviously by the virtue of OWD he is able to access it, but A is not able to, because A is not. But in question like this they will always be talking about a record which is neither owned by A nor by B, because that will be they want to see that sharing part come in picture. Okay, otherwise it will become very simple question like B was owner of that record, so that is why B was able to access that. A was not, so A was not able to because OWD was private. So to clarify more, you can ask what is OWD. Okay, the first
Sure.
thing. Sure. Why answer is not written here? Somebody put the answer here, okay? Now, question number 10. Two users have the same profile and are part of same role hierarchy in Salesforce. Okay. However, one user can access a specific report while the other user cannot. What could be causing this difference in access? See, um this is not more into the record sharing and security question. It is more about report visibility. It could be that the other person uh, might not be. Now here you will have to ask, okay, either they are access to report or not. How is the user access to report? Okay. Okay, so if they are not able to access a specific report, that there can be multiple reasons, not only related to record sharing and security, but also related to report visibility as well. There is a possibility that report might be stored in a folder which was not shared with the user A. Okay, so he is not able to access that report because report visibility was not there itself. There can be a possibility that user A does not have even report visibility at all, like he cannot even view reports and dashboard permission at all. So here you can ask the follow-up question on, is user A is able to see any report at all or not? If he says yes, he is able to see other reports but not this particular report, then this could be related to reports visibility. But if he is not able to access any report, then that could be related to report and view report and dashboard permission on their profile. Okay.
Mohit, is there any chance like might be happen like the object I mean the user A doesn't have the object permission?
Yeah, bilkul. Of course, it can happen that user A does not have any object permission. So when you ask that, is he able to see any other report on that uh, report at all? He will say, yes, he's able to see report. That means he has a view report permission. Then you can ask that, is he able to see any other report associated with the same object or the same report type he's talking about? Then depending on what he answers. So as I said, there can be multiple follow-up questions depending on how deep you can go, and how deep you can go determines how well you know about the concepts. Okay. if you will give just one liner that this could be because of this, then he will say, okay, the candidate just thought about report permission. He did not check about the object permission. He did not check about the reports folder and visibility things. So it depends on how deep you want to go. That can also be possible that he do not have access on object at all. So even if he has report permission, he does not have object permission, he will not be able to see report of that object. Okay.
Okay, Mohit.
So by now you understand that these are the questions which requires follow-up questions. You will have to clear your own doubt with interviewer, and depending on what directions your interviewer give, then that will change the direction of your answers as well. Okay. And that is why record sharing and visibility questions become tricky, because you will have to um, think about them more. They are not straightforward question. There can be multiple answers. There can be different person will answer differently for these questions. So it's not a definite answer type of questions. Okay. Okay, now let's move on to question 11. It says that a company in Salesforce has a set of custom fields that are used by multiple departments. A company in Salesforce has a set of custom fields that are used for multiple departments. However, some department needs to be able to view and edit certain fields, while other departments should not be able to see those fields at all. How can you set up the field level security settings to accommodate the requirement? Okay, see, the first layer of security will be FLS. On the object, we will set FLS in such a way that they only have edit permission on such field which they are allowed to edit. Okay, but this completely will not be done by the FLS, because for one profile, he might need edit permission on a particular field for one particular department, but for other department he just need view permission. Okay, so the first level of security will be done by the FLS, and then when we will move it up, we will have different page layouts for different divisions based on different record types. And then based on that, on the layout level also, we will have second level of security, where we will make sure that the fields which are on the read only zone should only be read only. The field should be editable, should be editable. Okay, so on two levels we will have two different checks on FLS to make sure that no user is able to edit a field which he is allowed to edit. Now let's say there is a user which requires edit permission for department A but read permission for department B. Then from FLS you'll have to provide him edit and restrict that edit permission for department B from the page layout itself. Okay, so here two different layers will be required to achieve this. Okay, different page layout based on record type and field level security based on profile or permission set, whichever is. The ideally is that you can create a base level profile which will have only read permission, and then via permission sets you give edit permissions on such fields which are required to be editable by users. Okay, see, if I'm going too quickly, that is fine, that you take your time to understand the question and come back to those questions when we do doubt sessions on this. It's not like we will have to rush through these questions. These record sharing and security are are the questions which requires you to spend more time in understanding the question. The more you understand the question, more you'll be able to answer it in a proper manner. So spend some time understanding the question. Don't rush through the solution. Think about just
Uh,
don't solution. Yeah,
yeah, but can we use record type here?
yeah, we are using record type here. Different page layout based on different record types. Okay. Now, next question. Case object has OW set to private. Now, regardless of hierarchies like top to down or down to top and horizontal and cross functionally, all cases should be visible to anyone without changing OWD. How is it possible? See, this is a question which looks bit tough when interviewer will narrate that question. He'll say that we have OWD as private. Now I want to share it with with the all the users, irrespective of hierarchy, either they are on the top or on the bottom or cross-functional subordinates. I want to share it with everybody, but we should not change the OWD. So when he will narrate the question, he will gives you so many strings that you will be stuck in those strings without thinking about it. Was very easy. Like if OWD is private and I want to share a record with every user available, then I will create a public group. And even I don't need to, there is an option all internal users. I will create a sharing group and I will share it with all the users. It is like simplest possible thing. Because role hierarchy is not in picture, then it that makes it very easy. When we put role hierarchy in picture, then we will have an additional responsibility to set up role hierarchy in such a manner. But here it was a very straightforward. But he will try to make this question as a demon, that you feel that this is difficult question, how can that will be answered so quickly? But it is actually a very easy question. Okay. And these all are the questions which students got in real interviews. These are not made up by me or somebody. Okay, these all are real interview questions. Okay. Now next, user A has the button.
Mohit,
Yeah.
Mohit, in the last question, can we use the view all checkbox?
View all, that you will have to give on all the profiles. That will be the additional burden of changing it on all the profiles, or as associate a permission set with all the users.
So,
So
we need to ask whether these all are in the same profile or not.
sorry.
In this case,
Uh-huh.
they have top, down, down, whatever the thing is there.
Uh-huh.
So we need to check if they are in different profile, and we can give or not. You are saying.
See, we can obviously give, but see, obviously, whenever you have something. Okay, whenever you have to solve something which is related to the visibility of something, always try to solve it with the record sharing and security options available, not with the profiles option. Okay, always remember that. If you that is a wrong approach to go if you solve a sharing related problem with the object level access permissions. Okay, so don't go there. Okay, in reality we hardly get to change any profiles in a real project, especially when it comes to give view all or view all data access. You will hardly have any user who will have view all data access. Okay, so try to solve the sharing and security related problems via the security options available only. Okay, not with the other way around. Okay.
Yeah, Mohit.
See, in your dev org, you can do anything, but if you will work on a real project or if you will provide a solution to any company, your solution should be, top notch, uh, not a workaround. Yes, Palash, go ahead.
Hi Mohit, there is a little confusion in this question. If it is wrong, so make it clear. The question is: we have opportunity record, and all record OWD is private. I am opportunity owner, so I have read-write access on by default. Nobody access the record because it's OWD private. Now I am transferring the record to other user. Now requirement is as previous owner still I can able to see access that record.
So you are sharing it with someone else, right?
Right, right.
They should at least have read permission on opportunity. Okay. Then only
Okay.
you'll be able to share it, otherwise you will not be able to share it. And instead of changing the ownership, try to add them in the opportunity team, so that and define the access you want to give them. If you want to give them read and edit permission, they need to have read and edit permission on opportunity from their profile or permission set, otherwise they will not be able to. Okay, so instead of changing the ownership, try to add them in the opportunity team and give the level of access you want to give them. By this way you will still be owner, yet they will be able to work on opportunity and you will still have access to opportunity. Okay, otherwise if you have to change the ownership and you want to have some access on this opportunity already, then write some logic by which you will still have access on that opportunity even when you change the ownership of it. Like whenever you change the ownership of it, there should be some flow or trigger in the backend which will create a share record on that opportunity, which will share the record with the previous owner of that opportunity. Okay, so that can be done easily done by the automation. But the record which you are going to share with the user, that user should have permissions, read at least read permission for you to be able to change it. And if you want to give them edit, then they should have edit permission on their object as well. Okay.
Okay, yes, Manoj. Thank you.
So like I didn't understood we were talking about account team and opportunity team. Like what exactly that
Okay.
is another functionality here or like what?
Yeah. So on account, we have an option. We have an option account team, by which what we can do is that we can add multiple users as account team members. So what happens in the backend is that, see, you are the owner of it, but you might like it that couple of other sales representative also work on that account. So you can add them as an account team member. They will also have the level of access which you define for them. They will be part of opportunity. They will be part of that account, and they can work on account. You will still remain owner. So there can be multiple users who can work on same account. What happens in the backend is that whenever you add a user in the account team, in the backend, it creates an account share record. That share record will create association between that account and that user, and the level of access you will define in the UI. We will cover it on one session. But there is account team, there is opportunity team, and there is case team. So the funda is simple. You want to add multiple users to be able to work on same object on which you are creating the team members. Okay, and in the backend, it creates a share record like how we created in the Apex sharing. That's the same funda follows here as well in the backend. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. User A has the button clone visible on account. User B cannot see the button clone on account. Why? So there can be multiple reasons. Okay. First, might be possible that clone button is not available on page layout which user B has, but is available on the account which user A has. Okay. Second can be user A has create permission on that object. Okay. So that in that case, he will have an option. He will have this clone functionality usable to him, but user B does not have create option. Hence, clone button is not visible. So either the page layout or the object level permission. It has nothing to do with the record sharing and visibility. So we will not go there. Okay. Now that one part I still want to confirm. I will confirm it first. If on profile we have view all permission and from OWD it is restricted, then will I be still be able to edit it or view it? I will first confirm it. Without that, I will not comment on that. Okay, next question. We have too many users. If user gives feedback of manager, then it should not be visible to manager, but it should be only visible to person who is higher level of this org. Okay. Um, See, what it is saying is that, let's say you are working for a company, you have your manager, and then your manager has a manager. Now, whenever you want to give feedback to your manager, feedback for your manager, it should not go to your manager. Instead, it should go to your manager's manager. Okay, that is the question. Anybody has any doubt in understanding the question? No. Now, whenever you give a feedback, you want to share it with the manager's manager instead of manager. So role hierarchy is out of picture. You need not to do that. Just a simple sharing rule or a simple manual sharing can do that. If you want to automate, then you will create a sharing rule. Whenever you provide a feedback for manager, share it with the manager's manager. Okay. If it is not possible to do it with the sharing rule, then you can also try to do it with the Apex sharing rule as well. Okay. But we have to share the feedback record. Consider feedback is just an object, and you have to share the record of that feedback. Okay. So sharing rule, manual sharing, and Apex sharing are the options. whichever is easy for you and suits your need, you can choose that. Okay. See, why I'm saying sharing rule might not work is because you will have to share with a specific user. Okay. Here you will not either you go with the roles because you will have to share it with just a particular user, not with the public group or not with the roles and subordinates. So that is why if I have to do something like this, I will go through either manual sharing. But if client is asking for automated solution, then I will go for Apex sharing to do something like this. Okay. What will be your approach if you get this requirement? And this approach can be different for different user. I don't agree with this. So remove it. Somebody put a better answer here. Okay.
Manual sharing, will it work?
Yeah, manual sharing will 100% work. And ideally, this should be done with the manual sharing only. So we will go for automated solution only if client force us to do that, because this is a requirement which should be shared manually with, because the concerned user who need access is a specific user. Okay, so manual sharing is a better way, but if they are very rigid about making it an automated process, then we can go with the epic sharing. Okay. If suppose profile has, next question, if suppose profile has create permission on object, but read permission with permission set on the, okay. See, what it is saying is that on the profile, you already have create, read, edit, and delete permission, but via profile, via permission set, you gave it a read only permission. Okay. So will profile override what you gave on, will permission set override on what you give on the profile? No. Permission sets will never override what you already have with the profile. So if on the profile you already have read, create, edit, and delete, then if even if you create a permission set with just read permission and assign it to that user, he will still have read, create, edit, and delete. Whatever you have on profile, you will definitely create. Permission set will never override what you already have on profile. Permission set is only used to increase on top of what you already have on profile. So if you try to decrease it via permission set, that will not work. Okay. Next question. Same object has OWD default setting and profile has read only setting. Suppose I am the owner of that object. Can you read and edit that? See, if on the profile you have just read only, and that's where I was talking about. If the profile has read only permission and you OWD, same object has OWD default setting, like OWD, even if OWD is read and edit, okay, but on profile if you have just read only, then you will only be able to read, you will not be able to edit. Okay. Because in the case of conflict between permissions and role record level and profile level securities, it will always go to restrictive one. So in that case, you will only be able to read if your profile is read only. Okay. And if your profile, let's say, has read and edit, but you shared a record with just read permission, then in that case, you will only be able to read. So these are the two different set of questions comes from the question like these.
Can you repeat once, please?
Yeah.
Concept.
Second one.
Yeah, the funda of this, I mean, like how do
Okay.
we take
Okay.
in a generic way?
Let's say there is a user A. Okay. Now this user A has profile, and on profile you have just the read permission. Okay. Just the read permission. We are talking about account object. Now from a sharing rule, you have shared an account by giving him read and edit permission on the account. So from
Okay.
rule, you gave read and edit permission, but on profile, he only has read permission. Will he be able to edit the record which was just shared with him? No, he will not be able to edit the record because on profile, he only has read permission. So whatever he has on profile, he will be only be able to do those things. He will not be able to edit. Even if you shared the record with edit permission on it, he will not be able to do, because on profile he only has read. Now the flip side of it is that, let's say on profile you have read and edit both.
Hmm.
And from sharing rule, you shared a record with just read permission. Even though he has edit permission via their profile, he will now just be able to read the record because that record was shared in the read only format. So even though you have edit permission on that particular object, but you will not get edit permission on this particular record because this record was shared with just the read permission. Okay, so here in this case, sharing rule was restrictive, whereas profile was more permissible, but when you actually shared it, he will only be able to read it, because in case of conflict between these, we will only Salesforce choose the restrictive one. So in this case, the sharing was restrictive, so he will choose the restrictive one. These are two questions which you make it in an interview in a different manner. Like he can add some context to it, like adding to some role hierarchy and some couple of other things as well. But they want to check the what will happen when there is a clash between profile and sharing. Okay, so remember that.
Clear. Thank you.
All right. Okay, guys. I think we will take rest of the questions on the doubt sessions. Doubt session may extend depending on how many questions you add here. But I highly encourage you all to add your questions here. Whichever questions you feel that are difficult for you, we will discuss together. We may find answer or we may explore more on that question, but we will definitely do that. So feel free to add your questions and I will stop the recording here, so that I think that should be all for today in terms of discussing the question. I will cover account team, opportunity team and case team plus restriction rules and scoping rule in one session. Okay.